From mountaineering, scuba diving, caving, survival, you name it, I've probably done it. So today, I want to take you on a particular journey with me all. Okay? I need you all to sit back, relax, take a deep breath. Visualize this moment in time. Our journey today is going to be about a caving expedition, an underwater caving expedition. Many years back, I hear about an amazing cave, a majestic cave. So 2 days later, I'm in the water at around 25 meters depth with a body of mine. As we are swimming, searching for the cave, we find a little opening. Me being a curious person, decided to check it out. So I asked my buddy to wait for me. The opening was just enough to fit myself and my tank. I swam through this tunnel and reached a small room. Searching the room, I find another opening. Like a moth to a flame, I was drawn to it. So I swam through the second tunnel, arrived to the second room. Same, about a meter high also. Searched that room, found a third opening. A bit smaller, so I had to wiggle myself through. I got to a third room, dead end. Turn to return, I realized my big mistake. I've been swimming so low and scrubbing through these tunnels, I created a mess. The water was so murky. Visibility was bad. So I had to feel my way to find the opening. So all the way back to the first room. By then, the water became so bad, visibility was terrible. I couldn't even see the light of my torchlight. Searching around for the cave, for the opening, I found an opening. It felt a bit smaller than I remembered, but yet it was an opening. So I dived through that tunnel. As I was moving through, bam! Followed by a roar of air. It struck me. I had hit my tank hard, damaged it, and the air was moving out so fast. I was losing air. Thoughts rushed through my mind. My heart started to pound. I could feel my blood rushing to my body. My mind was in agony, in pain. I wanted to get out. I was struggling from inside. I wanted to scream. I was panicking. Suddenly, a counter thought struck and told me, Alan, you panic, you die. You panic, you die. With that thought, I automatically shut the negative thought and diverted my attention to what are my skills and what are my options. I thought, one of my skills is I'm a good free diver. I've been to 20 meters depth without air, so I could take off my tank, swim out without the tank, hopefully my body is still there, or if it's not, take the risk and go all the way to the top. The other option is I'll widen the opening as I drag myself through the tunnel. Third thing is, why didn't I check my tank yet? So I reached up to the knob, tightened the knob, suddenly everything went quiet. What a relief. I widened the hole, pushed myself through, came out of the opening. My body was surprised. I'm not sure which one he was surprised of. I was covered in sand from head to toe, or because I came out from a different opening. As if We didn't have enough adrenaline for a day, and my body didn't know the real reason what happened inside the cave. We continued our search for the majestic cave. It wasn't far, we found a huge opening about 3 meters wide with a rope, a leading rope from the beginning of that huge cave all the way to the end. It was so big, so beautiful, so soothing. A long swim all the way to the end. But the most beautiful thing about that majestic cave was the center hole. It was enormous. And it had a huge arc that went about 7 meters, maybe more higher. We finished that cave, went home. A year later, I get a phone call from a professional diver. He says, "Alan, did you hear yesterday's what happened to the 3 divers that went through this huge, majestic cave?" I said, "No, what happened?" He says, "They went in, but they did not come out. They didn't make it." I was shocked. Comparing that cave to the small, claustrophobic, depressing cave, that was such a beautiful, soothing cave. It was so easy to go through it. What happened? It seemed they, at the main hallway, instead of going out through following the line, they went up to the arc and they panicked. So what happened? What's the difference? We have the same cave, different outcome. The difference is our state of mind. When we have a negative state of mind, all we see is a vault. The negative state of mind tells us it's either we can't do anything anymore. It's the end of the road. We're stuck here. We focus on this door and that's it. We see no options. We do not focus on any other options. Whereas a positive state of mind tells us you have to look for other options. You have to look for other doors, other windows, other skills. As a negative thought, we usually focus on, as I said, the door. And this is somehow, form of worrying. You see, when we worry, it becomes a continuous drag on our mind. We do not focus on any other solution. When I was in that cave, I'll have to admit, I was focused on the why. Why am I here? What brought me here? Why did I do this to myself? Why did I put myself in this position? But what is that going to benefit me? Nothing. Zilch. That focus on this vault gets me nowhere. Instead, when you focus on what can I do, the what, and how can I get out of the situation, things change. We all have a choice, but it depends on us if we choose to look for that choice or not. I would like to show you a little exercise I call the Nonproductive Cycle. Usually, when we have a positive or a negative thought, okay, it reflects on our action. If we have a positive thought, our action is better. If we have a negative thought, our action is poor. And if we have poor action, the results is poor too. We get bad results. And with that bad results, it creates bad beliefs in ourselves. These bad beliefs in ourselves then affect our thoughts even more. And it creates a snowball cycle of getting from bad to worse. But if we focus on the good, we're positive, we know we have an option, we know we have solutions, but we have to look for them. And if we don't have the skills, we go out and look for these skills. That creates a much better outcome. Because having a negative belief, this is something that affects our life completely. Okay? And it's something we call a limiting belief. Limiting belief is like saying, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. These are limiting beliefs that hold us back. I'd like to show you an example. But before that, I want you to know that the limiting belief is one of the key ingredients for self-sabotaging ourselves. And I'll show you an example of both limiting belief and self-sabotaging. I had a person a long time back. Let's call her Tanya. Tanya had a problem. She was failing in her business, big time, year after year, failure after failure. So we met with her. We had a few sessions. In these sessions, we discovered she had a problem. Okay? Serious belief, a limiting belief. Let's consider this belief as a tabletop. And her belief was, I'm not good enough. Tabletop being the idea, the plateau of what she really believed in. Okay, this was her limiting belief. And how do we get these limiting beliefs? It starts from when we're young. Very, very young. Tanya had a problem. Her mother, from what she could remember, her mother always looked at her in a negative way. She looked at her she gave the impression of pity, of shame. So this created for Tanya a limiting belief. Her father gave the position in their business to someone else, and she wanted that position very much. This also gave the impression of a limiting belief that she is not good enough. Her marriage was a total failure. And so on and so forth. We had so many accumulations of these limiting beliefs that it made this I am not good enough so strong, a very, very strong belief. Going back to her business, as an entrepreneurship coach, we discovered that she was self-sabotaging herself. Decisions she took were backfiring on her. Every deal she made, she was intentionally damaging herself in her business. Why? Because she had this belief that she's not so good enough, that she wanted to prove it right. So in order to counter this belief, we went into her past. We started off in the past and focused on facts rather than belief. Facts of her achievements. And we discovered she had so many. She had awards, merits, scholarships. She went through so many difficult times that she achieved in so many of these. And these are facts. You see, we make mistakes in our lives. We make so many mistakes in our lives. But this is not who we are. Thomas Edison went through 1,000 trials before he achieved and turned on a light bulb. But do we ever ask about the trials? Do we think about the trials? We always remember the achievement, the last phase. It's the same idea as the vault. The vault is your limiting belief. If you stop at a phase or a stage where you have not succeeded, that is recorded in your subconscious, and you consider yourself one of these limiting beliefs. So we have to always know we have a choice. And when we think we have a choice, we then focus on finding a solution. Okay. Another case, let's call him Bob. Bob had a huge stuttering problem. This was a huge toll on his life and his career. He met with a speech therapist. Things didn't go well. So he gives me a call and we meet up. After a few sessions, we discovered Bob had a problem from when he was very young. He was given a lot of, you can say, special treatment from school, from the home, at home, friends, neighbors, because of his stuttering problem. That became something really good for him. It was a gold mine for him. The only other option he had, the only other memory he had was shame, ridicule, bullying, harassment because of his stuttering. So why should he let go of his stuttering? The funny thing is, he was self-sabotaging himself, focusing on keeping the stuttering because he believed it was good. And the funny thing is, he even applied to a cold calling company where he had to call customers and tell them about, sell them stuff on the phone. And funny, really ridiculous thing is he hated talking to people. So he was actually sabotaging himself to fail. He was affecting his confidence. We discovered that, well, whenever he spoke in a certain state of mind, when he was in a positive state of mind, his stuttering would barely be heard. But when he was in a state of mind of insecurity, anxiousness, anxiety, he would stutter a lot. So we had to take him back again in his history and focus on what is the benefit of his stuttering. His stuttering, maybe when he was young, was beneficial. It was helpful, maybe. But now he's around 30 years old. This is not going to help his career and his life. It's going to hold him back. We had to make him realize the difference between these two. So Bob and Tanya both had these limiting beliefs. With these beliefs, they created self-sabotaging incidences in their lives. They both had to stop these beliefs. They both had to work on focusing on what's best for them in the future and let go of the past. There is a saying I like to say. So we either face the death of what we were or the death of what we want. So in order for us to push forward in life, we need to take control of our life, our destiny. Break through this barrier, this constant constraint, this negative belief. We have to stop it. We need to stop these negative beliefs. So in other words, we need to stop. Press stop in order to press